भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ ज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णविस्तवितले प्रभुपदप्रिय श्री गिरिराजाय स्वामिने सुभक्तराधारास बिहारी ब्रह्मोत्तरीक्षात्मदाय। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णविस्तवितले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18. So we are on text 16. So this section is describing about Ketumala. And who's worshipped there? It's Bhagavan Kamadev, who is Pradyumna. So this Kamdev, who appears as Krishna's son named Pradyumna, is Vishnu Tattva. So this is not a Kamdev, Rati's husband. This is Pradyumna.
But who's the real Kamdev?
Sorry?
This one or that?
No, Krishna is Kamadev, right? You chant Gayatri Mantra, right? So this is Kamadev.
But then who's that Kamdev?
He is a material. He's like a demigod.
He has nothing to do with
Cupid, right? Kandarpa Koti Kamani Avishesha
that is Krishna.
Shubham. So Krishna conquers that You know, the real Kamdev is Krishna, right? So Kamdev Sthitam Vishnu Upaste. So although this Kamdev is Vishnu Tattva, his body is not spiritual but material. Lord Vishnu as Pradyumna or Kamadev accepts a material body, but he still acts spiritually. It doesn't make any difference whether he accepts a spiritual or a material body. He can act spiritually in any condition of existence. Mayavadi philosophers regard even Lord Krishna's body as material, where their opinions cannot impede the spiritual activity of the Lord.
How is that his body is
Sorry?
material, his Vishnu?
Yeah, like the deity we said, no, like last week we said. So the deity's body is material, but actually he's spiritual, right? We are connected. What is spiritual? The service mood, right? We want to serve Krishna, so he appears. I remember, like how my altar, and whatever I wish will be done in no time. Whatever, anything, or my deed, and if there was anything else, it will take ages and it never happens. Did you notice that? Anything you want for your deities immediately becomes manifested, right? Tatyeva sulalita gati vilasa vilasita ruchira hasa lesha valoka lilaya kinchit Uttambhita Sundara Bhrumandala Subhaga Vadanara Vinda Shriya Ramayan Indriyani Ramayate. In Ketumala Varsh, Lord Kamdev Pradyumna moves very graciously. We've read this. His smile is very beautiful. And when he increases the beauty of his face by slightly raising his eyebrows and glancing playfully, he pleases the goddess of fortune. Thus he enjoys his transcendental senses. Right? Kamdev means senses. Oh yeah, I think we're supposed to start from 18. Accompanied during the daytime by the sons of Prajapati, the predominating deities of the days, and accompanied at night by his daughters, the deities of the night. Lakshmi Devi worships the Lord during the period known as the Samvatsara in his most merciful form as Kamadev. Fully absorbed in devotional service, she chants the following mantras. Yeah, so Krishna deals with the devotees as a mother. As a mother deals with the child. Text 18. Om Haram Rim Rum Om Namo Bhagavate Rishikeshaya Sarva Gune Vishesher Vilakshitatmane Akutinam Chittinam Chetasam Visheshanam Chadhipataye Shodashal Kalaya Chando Mayayanam Mayayamrita Mayaya Sarva Mayaya Sahase Ojase Balaya Kantaya Kamaya Namaste Ubhayatra Bhuyat. Om means, O Lord. Ram, Rim, Rum. The seeds of the mantra chanted for a successful result. This is a mantra, right? When they are doing yagya. So, Om, Ram, Rim, Rum. The seeds of the mantra chanted for a successful result. Om, O Lord, Namaha. Respectful obeisances, Bhagavate, unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Rishikeshaya, unto Rishikesh. the Lord of the senses, Sarva Guna with all transcendental qualities, Visheshaha with all varieties, Vilakshita, particularly observe, Atmane, unto the soul of all living entities, Akutinam, of all kinds of activities. Akutinam means of all kinds of activity. Chitinam, of all kinds of knowledge. Chetasam, of the functions of the mind, such as determination and mental effort. Visheshanam, of their respectful objects. Cha, and Adhipataye, unto the master. Shodasha Kalaya, whose parts are the 16 original ingredients of creation, namely the 5 objects of the sense and the 11 senses, including the mind. Chandaha Mayaya, unto the enjoyer of all ritualistic ceremonies. Anamayaya, who maintains all living entities by supplying the necessities of life. Amrita Mayaya, who awards eternal life. Sarva Mayaya, who's all pervading. Sahase, the powerful. Ojase, who supplies strength to the senses. Balaya, who supplies strength to the body. Kantaya, the supreme husband or master of all living entities. Kamaya, who supplies all necessities for the devotees. Namaha, respectful obeisances stay unto you. Ubhayatra, always during both day and night, or both in this life and the next. Bhuyat, may there be all good fortune. All right, you can read this.
Hare Krishna, translation by His Divine Grace Prabhupada. Let me offer my respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Rishikesha, the controller of all my senses and origin of everything. As the Supreme Master of all bodily, mental, and intellectual activities, He is the only enjoyer of their results. The 5 sense objects and 11 senses, including the mind, are His partial manifestation. He supplies all the necessities of life, which are His energy and thus non different from Him. And He is the cause of everyone's bodily and mental prowess, which is also non different from Him. Indeed, He is husband and provider of necessities for all living entities. The purpose of all the Vedas is to worship Him. Therefore, let us all offer Him our respectful obeisance. May He always be favorable towards us to this life and the next. Purport. In this verse, the word Maya Maya is further explained in regard to how the Lord expands His mercy in different ways. Parasha Shakti Vividha Asurayate. The energies of the Lord, Supreme Lord, are understood in different ways. In this verse, He describes as the original source of everything, even our body, sense, mind, activities, prowess, bodily strength, mental strength, and determination for securing the necessities of life. Indeed, the Lord's energies can be perceived in everything. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.8, Rasoham Apsu Kantayo, the taste of water is also Krishna. Krishna is the active principle of everything we need for our maintenance. This verse, offering respectful obeisance unto the Lord, was composed by Rama, the goddess of fortune. Rama, by Rama, the goddess of fortune, and is full of spiritual power. Under the guidance of spiritual master, everyone should chant this mantra and thus become a complete and perfect devotee of the Lord. One may chant this mantra for complete liberation from material bondage, and after liberation, one may continue chant it while worshipping the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha Loka. All the mantras, of course, are meant for this life and the next life, as Krishna himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita 9.14. Satantam kirtayanto mam yatantascha jadvita namasyantascha mam bhakta nitya yukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, the great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. A devotee who, both in this life and the next, chants the Maha Mantra or any mantra is called Nitya Yukta Upasaka.
So this verse has so many Sankhya in this, right? Which I'm not going to explain because we've already discussed all this, so I'm not going to get into it. But I'll just read the verse again. So Prabhupada is saying that we should chant this mantra because this mantra is going to liberate us from the cycle of birth and death. What does it say? Om Ram Rim Rum Om Namo Bhagavate Rishikeshaya Sarvaguna Vishesher Vilakshitatmane Akutinam Chitinam Chatesam Visheshanam Chadhipataye Shodasha Kalaya Chando Mayayana Mayayamritam Mayaya Sarvamayaya Sahase ओजसे बलाय कांताय कामय नमस्ते उभायत्र भूयात्. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Person of Godhead, Lord Rishikesh, the controller of all my senses and the origin of everything. So this is very basic. This is from Bhagavad Gita about Rishikesh, who is Lord Rishikesh, the controller of all my senses and the origin of everything. Canto 2, we have studied in depth about all this. Then, as the Supreme Master of all bodily, mental and intellectual activities, he is the only enjoyer of their results. So, he is the master of the entire body. Therefore, whatever we do with the senses, whether it's body, mind, and intelligence, the result is to be offered to him. Right? The 5 sense objects and 11 senses, including the mind, are his partial. We are in chapter 18, text 18. The 5 sense objects and 11 senses, including the mind, are his partial manifestation. He supplies all the necessities of life, which are his energy and thus none different from him. It's like a sutra. This mantra is describing Vishnu, or this is Kamadev, Pradyumna, and his energies. Through his, like we are part of Krishna's energy, right? We are the Jiva Shakti. And so he supplies all the necessities of life. So I am Jiva Shakti, at the same time the liberated soul who are also his Shakti. But then this Jiva, this Jiva that is stuck in the material body, now he has to make another provision. What? Material nature, right? Those who are in the spiritual world, they don't need to eat, right? Whatever they eat is eternal. It's enjoyable, right? The armrest, it's right? It's just superb and continues. Here, you have to grow the arm, right? Then you have to check which season. Remember, no kalpavriksha, right? In spiritual world, kalpavriksha, anytime you want to have lychees, you have mango, this, whatever, right? On the spot it appears. No growing, dying, and all that. So enjoyment of the senses is there. It is not temporary hard work the way it is here.
That means they just think of their mind. I want lychee, and tapak, the lychee comes, and then
they don't eat, they give to
Krishna.
Yeah. Automatic. Govinda Namo Namaha. Right? Remember how the cow had boys? All the mothers, right? All the mothers. Huh? See, actually, this is the good fortune of being women, right? Cook and offer to Krishna. So all the mothers has packed the lunch pack, right, for the boys. And what would they do? They eat and say, Krishna, just taste what my mother has cooked. Lord Brahma is watching all this. What? I have to do so many mantras for Brahma to accept in that Yagyakun. And here these boys, Malich, right? Juta, right? So that's why he came to test Krishna, whether he's actually Krishna, he's actually God or what. So the 5 sense objects and 11 senses, including the mind, are his partial manifestation. He supplies all the necessities of life. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchit jagatam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrida kasasvidhanam. This, all right? So then what else? Yeah, so he supplies all the necessities of life, which are his energy and thus none different from him. And he's the cause of everyone's bodily and mental prowess, which is also none different from him. All right, now, indeed, he's the husband and provider of necessities for all living entities. All right, if you want a husband, here's the husband. All right, husband means, huh? What does that mean? Yeah, husband means pati. Pati means one who maintains. All right, one who maintains. Oh, so he's the husband. Where is that in that Sanskrit? Okay, Kantaya. Kantaya, the supreme husband or master of all living entities. Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataru, right? So Krishna is the Kantaya, he who maintains. Right. So the purpose of all the Vedas is to worship him. Therefore, let us offer him our respectful obeisances. May he always be favorable towards us in this life and the next. So we have to remember again, that all the Jeev, whoever has taken birth in this material world, they have a heavy problem with Krishna, right? We don't want to accept that Krishna is the Kanta, all right? And therefore, we should offer our respectful obeisances to him. I always say this, that this system of Varnashram, it's a very good system to surrender to Krishna. Because everybody had to be obedient to somebody. In its proper way, now, things deteriorated, but the principle is very important because everybody had a mood of servitude. When I came here in India, first, maybe my first classes, like I saw that entire group of women. Everybody had such a service attitude. Everybody to serve the family, serve this one. This naturally. Now I'm not seeing it. And I appreciate it. This is how I learned actually. When I started thinking, what is this? What is this? To serve the husband, serve the children. Now it's all like I'm the husband, right? Everybody wants to be the husband when we count. As it is, the poor husband is not a husband, as we're going to learn now. Now, what to speak of this poor woman who wants to be the husband, right? So it's even double fiasco or triple, multiple fiasco, right?
Mati, husband by itself, it is a designation, right? So I guess the designation should not be thrilling or pulling. The one who maintains the family assumes the designation.
So that's what we are saying is all illusion, right? So that's where the Kanta is actually Krishna. But this Purusha believes that he is the Kanta, he's the maintainer, right?
Even though he may or may not maintain. Not as in
I'm just speaking now the system of Varnashram, right? See, there may have been anomalies somewhere, here and there. But the general, even 100 years ago, right? Every man was responsible to maintain a family, right? And the woman would do her own work, right? And she'll be happy. Even till today, I see 85 to 90% of women don't want to go out and work. This is my personal experience. They want to be at home. All right. So that's why now they're putting out the advertisement, work from home, because they know the general mentality, the woman doesn't want to step out and work. But the only problem, what if you have only one child? Right? You don't have your in-laws staying with you. Who are you serving? I'm just, this basic thing, How does the woman become soft in heart? How does she become giving, loving? If you have nobody in the house to serve, that's the problem. It's not a question of stepping out and working, It's more, how do you keep yourself occupied? Isn't it? So therefore, see, I wanted to say that the system of Varnashram, because everybody had the mood of service in Varnashram, therefore it's very easy to serve Kamadev. Very easy. Now, even your maid doesn't want to be a servant, right? Does anybody want to be a servant? Even your maid doesn't want to be a servant, right? So the mood is already out. So if that level they are not ready, what to speak of who's on top, right? So therefore, it's very difficult, how you're going to struggle to make people serve. So the system of Varnashram is a stepping stone, a stepping stone to service to Krishna. This is what, I could gather by reading and then by observation. So text 19. Striyo vratestvha rishikeshwaram swato rihat hyaradhya loke patimasasatenyam tasam nate vai paripanthyapatyam priyam dhanaryum shiyato swatantratah. My dear Lord. Okay, it's all going to be about husband. Who's speaking here? Who's speaking here?
The one who's giving prayers.
Lakshmi Devi. All right, Lakshmi Devi. Now, here straight from the lotus mouth of Lakshmi Devi, whom we all worship, right? We are running after Lakshmi Devi. Now, Lakshmi Devi is giving some advice. And she is the wife of Vishnu, right? Kamadev. So Kamadev is the husband, all right? So now she's giving some good advice. But she is not speaking to us directly. What is she doing? Yeah. She's speaking to her husband. Right? They have the style. Everybody knows how to speak, right? If you will tell directly, you say, okay, get out. So what she is doing? She is speaking to her husband. And how she addressed her? Om Ram Rim Rum. Om Namaha Bhagavate Rishikeshaya. She's addressing him like this. Then she says, my dear Lord, Rishikeshwaram Swato. Striya, all women. Now, so direct instruction to all women. Okay, Striya, all women. Vratehe, by observing fasting and other vows. Twa, you, Rishikeshwaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Master of the senses. Swataha, of your own accord. He, certainly. Aradhya, worshipping Loke in the world. Patim, a husband. Asa sate, ask for, anyam, another, tasam, of all those women, no, not te, the husband, ve, indeed, paripanti, able to protect, apatyam, the children, priyam, very dear, dhanam, the wealth, ayumshi, or the duration of life, yataha, because ashwa tantraha, dependent. Okay, let's read now. My dear Lord, you are certainly the fully independent master of all the senses. So, Lakshmi Devi, first thing she's establishing that you are independent. All right? It's not that Rishikesh is dependent on our offering. He's independent. That's the first point. Therefore, all women who worship you by strictly observing vows, because they wish to acquire a husband to satisfy their senses, are surely under illusion. So you're worshipping Rishikesh because to have a husband, then simply under illusion. They do not know that such a husband cannot actually give protection to them or their children, nor can he protect their wealth or duration of life. Just see everything that we want. You know, like the greatest calamity that can fall upon a woman is to lose the husband, right? Nor can he protect their wealth or duration of life, for he himself is dependent on time. That poor husband is dependent on time. I cannot forget that incident when that girl told me, how she got married. She was 18 years old. She was 18 years old when she got married, and she became a widow when she was 25 years old. So she told me how her husband, she said that he will always be there for her, right? But at the end, she was there for him, right? Right? She was there for him when he was dying. All right? So this is what Lakshmi Devi is saying. You cannot even protect the duration of life, right? This poor husband, he himself has to go, right? Ram Nam Satya Hai, right? Oh my God. Anyway, everybody knows this. For he himself is dependent on time, fruitive results, and the modes of nature which are all subordinate to you. So this poor husband, he cannot protect his wealth. Today he has wealth. Tomorrow he has no wealth. Right? And actually this is what Sita Devi is teaching. This chaste wife. She's a girl who married the heir to the throne of Ayodhya. Right? It's understood that she will be the queen of Ayodhya. And what happened? Her husband lost the kingdom. And what did she do? She didn't go back to Janakpur. She says, where you are, this is where I am. Right? Yeah, so he has no power to protect their wealth or duration of life. That other story, Satyavan, right? Savitri Satyavan, right? So it was understood that he will die after this time, but this girl fell in love with this boy. Say, no, I will marry this boy only, right? The parents say, but he will die, he has a short life, right? He has a short life, and this girl said, no, I will marry him only, right? And by her chastity, she tricked Yamaraj, right? She tricked Yamaraj to increase the duration of life of the husband, right? We are dependent. In other words, we are dependent. For he himself is dependent on time, karma, fruitive result, because he's coming with his karma, and you are coming with your karma, and when you get married, this is mixture of karma. Right? Isn't it? You bring your bit and I bring my bit. Isn't it? So it mixes, so we don't know who's higher, who's lower, right? Sometimes they say that when the girl, gets married, then the boy, he rises in wealth, right? Or maybe he'll go down. I don't know how it works both ways, I guess. Anyway, so fruitive results. So and the modes of material nature, meaning these gunas, right? Like this poor lady, she was happily married, very happily married, and suddenly during the COVID, all types of crap were going on this, mobile phone. That man became lusty, right? Modes of nature. So her husband became mad, just watching, because they didn't know how to keep people busy, during the lockdown, watching all types of lusty stuff. That man became lusty, right? Everybody knows what happened, right? So many bad things. So, and the modes of nature. I'm just saying, a good man suddenly fell into passion, right? So, in this verse, purport, in this verse, Lakshmi Devi Rama shows compassion towards women who worship the Lord for the benediction of possessing a good husband. They have some ceremony, right? They worship for the husband, right? Although such women desire to be happy with children, wealth, a long duration of life, and everything dear to them, they cannot possibly do so. In the material world, a so-called husband is dependent on the control of the Supreme Person Godhead. Shani Dev, right? He's fixing the duration of your life, right? There are many of the husband. There are many examples of a woman whose husband, being dependent on the result of his own fruitive actions, cannot maintain his wife, her children, her wealth, or her duration of life. Therefore, factually, the only real husband of all women is Krishna. This is Prabhupada writing. Okay? Prabhupada is husband and father of so many children. Okay? So the husband of all women is Krishna, the supreme husband. Because the gopis were liberated souls, they understood this fact. Therefore, they rejected their material husbands and accepted Krishna as the real husband. Krishna is the real husband not only of the gopis, but of every living entity, every jeev. Everyone should perfectly understand that Krishna is the real husband of all living entities who are described in Bhagavad Gita as Prakriti, female, not Purusha. All right, let's get it straight. All right, meaning even that husband actually is Prakriti. He's not Purush. There's only one Purush. He may be small Ishvara, but he's not the supreme Ishvara. All right, he may be little Purusha, but he's not Purushottam. All right. So at the end of the day, here Prabhupada is saying that everybody is Prakriti, not Purush. In Bhagavad Gita 10.12, only Krishna is addressed as Purush. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shasvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. You are the supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth, and the eternal divine person. You are the primal God, transcendental and original. And you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. Krishna, the original Purush, and the living entities of Prakriti. This is revision, okay? This is just revision. We have studied this in depth. Thus, Krishna is the enjoyer, and all living entities are meant to be enjoyed by him. Therefore, any woman who seeks a material husband for her protection or any man who desires to become the husband of a woman is under illusion. To become a husband means to maintain a wife and children nicely by supplying wealth and security. However, a material husband cannot possibly do this, for he is dependent on his karma. Just see what Prabhupada is saying, right? Whether if he's able to maintain a wife, he's dependent on his karma. Karmana deva netrena. His circumstances are determined by his past fruitive activities. Therefore, if one proudly thinks he can protect his wife, he's under illusion. Krishna is the only husband, and therefore the relationship between a husband and wife in this material world cannot be absolute. Because we have the desire to marry, Krishna mercifully allows the so-called husband to possess a wife, and the wife to possess a so-called husband for mutual satisfaction. In the Shishopanishad it is said, Tena Chaktena Bhunjita. We recited that before. The Lord provides everyone with his quota. So which husband will fit you will depend on what? Yeah, your karma, right? Which wife will fit you will depend on his karma. All right. We don't have to go and check horoscope and anything, right? It's all given here.
Mataji, even nowadays people are doing love marriage, so different cars, different that is also arranged or not that
Well, they are coming by. Actually, it's all mixed up, right? It's all. It's yeah, yeah. So this is described in Bhagavad Gita, right? So therefore, Varna Sankara, mixture of gotras also happening, right? And therefore, disease. So this mixture of gotra, it actually creates disease. So mental disease, all types of disease, like right? They say every second child has some problem, right? Because they don't check all. See, we are human beings. We are not animals, and human beings can be counted on the fingers, right? Every country is counting the number of human beings, right? Isn't it? Right? So meaning there's organization in human society. Anyway, to get into all this, let's finish this. 1 minute, let's just finish this before, right? So actually, however, every living entity is Prakriti or female, and Krishna the only husband. Ekala Krishna, Ekaleshwara Krishna. No. Ekaleshwara Krishna Rasava. Ekaleshwara Krishna Rasava Britya. Yare Yache Nachaya. Se Taiche Kare Nitya. Krishna, the original master, a husband of everyone, and all other living entities having taken the form of so-called husbands or wives or dancing according to his desire. A so-called husband may unite with his wife for sense gratification, but his senses are conducted by Rishikesh, the master of the senses, who is therefore the actual husband. All right, now controversy. Okay, tell me now, what's the big controversy? What's the big argument?
See what Bhagavad said, Mataji, if, as it is mentioned here, that if a boy and a girl, their meeting is destined and that's controlled somewhere at a top level, all these abrupt marriages that are happening in the material planet, is that something which was predestined for them based on their karma?
We create. See, Krishna has a plain and simple system called Varnashram Dharma. All right? It's very systematic, as I said, they're human beings, right? Human being, there's a human organization. And human being has to become liberated from the cycle of birth and death. All right? So therefore, there is the Brahminical class, right? Isn't it? There's a Brahminical class. They will create Brahmanas naturally if they follow the system. But when you start mixing, right, with the other castes, so-called castes, Varna, then you become hybrid, right? You become a hybrid. So therefore, you don't have that potency. Like father Brahmana, mother is Kshatriya, or anyway, whatever it is, all this mixture. So therefore, you do not have that intellectual class anymore. What is specific about them? They have power of memory. The Brahmanas, right? They have extreme power of memory. So they're able to capture the Vedic literatures and keep it and pass it. And they are the leaders of society, right? Because Shastra is Shruti, right? We keep on reading until I saw the video, how these boys, these little boys, no book. Guru is speaking, right? Reciting, and these boys are hearing. Hearing, I remember how Bhakti Charu Swami, 100 times he made us recite the verse we could never memorize. Isn't it? Here these boys, right? They are reciting, memorizing. They are better than computers. Computers you delete, right? Whereas with the memory of these Brahmanas, you cannot delete. So that's why they said, I think the conclusion of the British was that even if you burn all the books, all the libraries, it will still remain in the memory of the Brahmanas, and they will rewrite everything because it's a code. It's a code, right? And they have a system of memorizing. I saw this, I'm watching a lot of YouTube from COVID time. So I learned how it's done, and then I saw, So now Prabhupada said that Brahman class is gone. All right, it's gone. This is first thing. Then the Kshatriyas. India lost the Kshatriyas, right? Isn't it? India lost the Kshatriyas, so the aggressors came in and captured and demolished all the temples. Isn't it? All right. Is it a joke to be a Kshatriya? We already read these women, what they do. When their husbands are killed, what do the women do? They also get on the fire. Is that a small thing? Right? It's not like you push somebody in the fire, and murder the woman. It's not like this. Meaning, how powerful these women are, they are yogis. And we read earlier, maybe Prithu Maharaj, right? He ignited, he left, right? He left willingly, right? So then his wife did the funeral, and she herself, and all alone, all right? All alone, not that she called all the neighbors, and there's nobody in the forest, right? She did the funeral pyre, and she herself entered that, all right? She has knowledge, she has power, extreme power. And actually, even Dhritarashtra, from whatever we read, he also set his body on fire. Like Sati, she set her body on fire, right? So they know how to increase the fire element in the body. Where is the Kshatriya woman today? Who can give birth to a Kshatriya, right? I don't know who said somewhere that women, Kshatriya women, they give birth to children who will sacrifice their life to protect dharma. All right? Then come the third class, the Vaishya class. Who are the Vaishyas? All right? They are the maintainers of the other section of the society. They are growing the food. They are taking care of the cows. They are doing little banking. Some trading they are doing. Today we call them business. Right? Isn't it? And they are the ones who build all the temples. Right? Till today, where do we go to celebrate all our festivals? We go to the business people. And why is it that they give? Because they are dharmic. Isn't it? If they are not pious, they won't give you a cent. So the Vaishya class also, even the mode of passion, right? Mixture of mode of passion and ignorance, because they like to make money, right? So they had this attachment to them that they should give to Vishnu. So therefore, like Govind Dev Ji temple was built by, rich merchant, right? This Madan Mohan, rich merchant, right? All this. And then the Shudra class, very happily they would serve. They will provide everything that is required. Who will make the altar? The Brahmana will make the altar. You need these artisans, right? Very simple, very interesting to see all this. Like, we were setting up our Janmashtami stall, Early, the day before, nothing was set up. I'm all worked up, Not done. Morning, I just go Mangalati and I give it another chakkar. I say nothing. 6:30, I'm walking another chakkar, nothing. 8 o'clock, nothing, I say, we have given the slot from 10 o'clock. Nothing is set up. And even our staff now, they won't come at 8 o'clock. So there was some volunteer, lucky some girls volunteered to come. Everybody is there, nothing is happening. I started running down, See, I say I cannot put up, even though my mind was pick up those tables and just set it up. My mind was working like this. The girls say, Mataji, we will do. We will put up the tables. Krishna showed me something. It was 9 o'clock. So then, suddenly, so I went down. I said, Prabhu, please. Our star is opening at 10 o'clock. Nothing, zero. The banner has to be put this. So I saw, like those workers, right? They have actually been employed for that. So he just said, Uncle, bring this table. He's an old man. Uncle is an old man, He's carrying the table all by himself. Heavy iron table. And I'm looking at him, I say, that's why his body has been made like this. I will have to take 4 girls, right? To lift up that table and bang it, make it straight that it doesn't crush up on your feet. This man, he's picking the tables one after the old uncle, all right? Picking the tables one after the other and setting up in front of my eyes. And I say, he's doing all that for Radha Ras Bihari, One time, I saw putting up this pandal. It was pouring like anything, They were on those posts. I was crying. I was looking at this. We are enjoying nice, program is going on. These poor men, right? In that heavy rain, he's on that pole, putting up that pandal, tying, Anyway, everybody's got their karma. So who will you marry among all these people whom I have described? The Brahmana is intellectual, the Kshatriya, because everybody has got some work. The companion, right? Usually the Brahmana doesn't need a companion. Mostly. They don't need. Some may need. But mostly, I would say straight, 50% of them don't need. All right? The Kshatriya, they need the wife. They need the queens. So that's why they have more than one wife. and they need children, and they need the children, right? The Kshatriya, because very few people are actually Kshatriyas. Who has the guts, has the courage? Bhagavad Gita, right? Chapter 18, Krishna is describing the Kshatriya. Who has that valor, the resourcefulness, and brain also? You need intelligence. You need to be a proper strategist. Like Ravan is a good strategist, right? So you need all these. So how many people will actually be Kshatriya, right? And where will you find an honest Vaishya, right? Dying race, right? Who are Dani. And we have heard, we have read in this Shuchinam Shimatam Gehe, right? Right? They take birth. So unless you are pious from past life, but not sufficiently advanced, little bit advanced, they take birth in the Vaishya families. Suchinam Shrimatam. Shrimatam. They take birth in the Vaishya families. And they are the ones who donate. How many are like this, right? So then you shouldn't have a wife who's begging, why are you giving? Why are you giving? Why are you giving, right? I'm just speaking of matching. Then that Shudra, who will have a wife who will help him in his work, right? I haven't seen only the men doing this. I have seen the women also, right? Now we speak of Varna Sankara. Varna Sankara. So Prabhupada already told us that the Brahmana has become very much reduced. Kshatriya disappeared completely, right? The rest, so Prabhupada says, I'm just quoting from whatever we've been reading. It is who's left is only the Shudra and the Vaishyas, and they're mixing together, right? They're mixing, right? So the pure breed is gone, You know, you asked me today, this is personal experience. The young girls do not even know hospitality. They don't know hospitality, the young girls. Young girls who have now become in their 30s and 40s, they don't know how to be hospitable, right? How to, receive a guest, right? A guest come meaning that you should go in the kitchen immediately. This is the meaning of somebody turns up at your doorstep. Immediately you have to go in the kitchen. Isn't it? So speaking of, so now mixtures happening. So what happened? You were not hospitable. I'm just giving, one example. It's not like an absolute truth. You are not hospitable. Therefore, you incur some karma, right? Isn't it? So then the husband didn't behave this way. Then he incurs the karma. Then you're made to meet. Isn't it? So what I'm saying is that it's not that by chance that I marry the wrong person. Krishna has a design program, but we mess it up. And we read in Bhagavatam also how much they goof up also, right? So many things they do wrong. And how then it is rectified. It will happen from, I think, maybe 8th canto, 9th canto, then will come all the stuff that the devas also do, which are human, mistakes. So, right now, 100% it is coming from karma. This is what we are reading. We can put on the lights. We can't see anything. It became dark. It became very cloudy. So, Prabhupada is saying that it's due to our own karma. Yeah, mixture of karma. What do we deserve? Where is it? Oh, I'm reading the wrong purport. So Prabhupada is saying that, oh, where is it? Karma, here. Yeah. A material husband is dependent on his karma, right? Dependent on his karma. So he will, so who he will marry, that also will depend on the karma of the girl, right? So you come together and again then you cause each other suffering, everybody. Anyway, this is plain and simple logic. Basic principle is karma. But my point was that this is not what Krishna has designed. Krishna has designed a proper society so that matching is done properly, so that there is least havoc in relationships. That's the point that I was making. So then life is what we call peaceful, prosperous, happy. But when there is all this mixture, anyway, another problem again, marriage was done from young age, right? From young age. And I read, is it Mahabharata somewhere? If a father by the age of 12 doesn't find a husband for the girl, she's free to go and find her own husband. And this is exactly what's happening, right? This is exactly what's happening. In other words, it is the duty of the father to find a husband for the daughter. Right? Isn't it that every teenager has a boyfriend? Isn't it? Because the age has come for her marriage. So naturally, they go and they look for the boyfriend. And previously, the parents will immediately get them engaged. Now they don't do this, isn't it? They don't even do this. So this is how, anyway, these are all social anomalies that has happened. And we can't get into all this history, right? But here, Lakshmi Devi is saying that these foolish women, they are dependent on a husband, right? Who himself is dependent, right? So therefore, anyway, let's read more. I don't know whether we have time, because it's very intense. Lakshmi Devi has a lot to say. So I don't know whether we'll break the momentum and pick up again next week. Yeah, it's a lot, in many verses. Yeah, just see, it goes until 23. So till 23 it goes on. I don't know if you want to stay or, continue next week. Okay, let's read this. Yatasya te padasaroruharanam nikamayet sakhila kamalampata. Okay. Sarve pati syad akuto bhaya swayam samantata pati bhayaturam janam sa eka eva tarathari mitho bhayam naivatma balabhadapti manyate param. He alone who is never afraid, but who on the contrary gives complete shelter to all fearful persons, can actually become a husband and protector. Therefore, my Lord, you are the only husband and no one else can claim this position. If you are not the only husband, you would be afraid of others. Therefore, persons learned in all Vedic literature accept only your lordship as everyone's master, and they think no one else a better husband and protector than you. Purport. Here the meaning of a husband or guardian is clearly explained. People want to become a husband, a guardian, a governor, or political leader without knowing the actual meaning of such a superior position. So husband is a superior position, all right? There are many people all over the world, indeed throughout the universe, who claim for some time that they are husbands, political leaders, or guardians, but in due course of time, the Supreme Lord desires their removal from their post, and their careers are immediately finished. Therefore, those who are actually learned and advanced in spiritual life do not accept any leader, husband, or maintainer other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna personally states in Bhagavad Gita 18.66, Aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Krishna is not afraid of anyone. Masuchaha, right? Don't fear. On the contrary, everyone is afraid of Krishna. Therefore, he can actually give protection to a subordinate living entity. Since so-called leaders or dictators are completely under the control of material nature, they can never give complete protection to others, although they claim this ability due to false prestige. Like I just said, this girl, when she got married, I never forget this. She got married she was 18 years old. Her husband said, I will, take care of you, protect you, etc. Whole life. And she became widow when she was 25. This girl never got married again. Yeah? She never married again. Where is it? I lost. Yeah. Nate vidu svartagatim hi Vishnum. People do not know that real advancement in life consists of accepting the Supreme Person Godhead as one's master. Instead of deceiving themselves and others by pretending to be all-powerful, all political leaders, husbands, and guardians should spread the Krishna consciousness movement so that everyone can learn how to surrender to Krishna, the Supreme Husband. So a real husband is someone who says, I'm not the husband, but Krishna is the husband, so therefore let us worship and surrender and depend on Krishna. This is Varnashram system. All right. God, I can't see anything. Very dim, huh? Yatasyate padasaroruharanam kramatyet. You can't see. My dear Lord, you automatically fulfill all the desires of a woman who worship your lotus feet in pure love. However, if a woman worships your lotus feet for a particular purpose, you also quickly fulfill her desires, but in the end she becomes broken-hearted and laments. Therefore, one should not worship your lotus feet for some material benefit. So how many women told me, they did this puja, that puja because they want to marry this boy, right? And as soon as the marriage is over, after 6 months, they say, I made a mistake. Right? So many pujas they did, so many this, that, I don't know what they do. They marry a tree also, they marry this, that, I don't know what. So much problem, so much stuff. And then they become broken-hearted, here Lakshmi Devi is saying. So Krishna says, you want? Okay, take. Huh? Then you become morose and broken-hearted. Well, see, I saw the difference in 2 generations. Those who thought I did a mistake, all right? And after 6 months, I did a mistake. They continued in their household life. But the next generation broke. I made a mistake and they broke. So, and when they break, the break is like such a havoc, such havoc that I have seen up till to death I have seen. This is how bad it has been. And of course, for us, we are reading Shastra, we say so many things, we give advice, and they say, I decide. All right? I decide. They die. It's because this divorce is such a thing that for the sake of wealth, they can kill you. Right? Because they become enemies. Right? They become enemies. They can kill you, and I have seen in front of my eyes. Unfortunately, I have lived sufficiently to see all this. Purport. Srila Rup Goswami described pure devotional service as anya bhilashita shunyam, dhyana karmadi anavritam. One should not worship the Supreme Person Godhead to fulfill some material desire or success in fruitive activities or mental speculation. To serve the lotus feet of the Lord means to serve Him exactly as He desires. The neophyte devotee is therefore ordered to worship the Lord strictly according to the regulatory principles given by the spiritual master and the Shastra. By executing devotional service in that way, he gradually becomes attached to Krishna. And when his original dormant love for the Lord becomes manifest, he spontaneously serves the Lord without any motive. This condition is the perfect stage of one's relationship with the Lord. The Lord then looks after the comfort and security of his devotee without being asked. See, this is such an important thing. Everybody is thinking if I give to Krishna, I'll become poor. Right? Everybody is thinking if I will give to Krishna, give my time, give my money, give my whatever, I'm going to lose. But here Prabhupada is explaining, the more you do for Krishna, the more you become purified and the more spontaneously you want to do. If you don't allow yourself to serve Krishna, you will never do it. Right? You will never get the taste to serve Krishna. You will always be busy with other things. You say, I have no time, I have no money, I have no this, that. And here Prabhupada is explaining, when you come to that point of spontaneously serving Krishna, Prabhupada is saying that Krishna automatically looks after the comfort and security of his devotee. Believe it? All right, believe it? Everybody believes it, okay? But if we don't serve Krishna, all right, it doesn't happen.
That was a neophyte, and when he has no understanding, just follow it and do it. Eyes closed, you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to do it. Do it. Automatically, once that purification comes, then the reciprocation. I believe in that.
Yeah.
I think I forgot that.
Yeah. So meaning you can't live without without doing.
Then it starts coming.
You can't live without it. Just like one time one devotee came and I said, I just say I'm just getting tired. Then immediately, unfortunately, I was shocked. She says, yes, it takes so much time to do the deity worship. And I thought, what? Like I was saying that, I'm like getting like tired, doing so many things. But that devotee, she immediately jumped upon my deities. That the problem is I'm, spending so much time with the deities. Oh my God, how can I live without my deities? Right? Right? Everything that we are doing, each and everything that we are doing, right? Because when we come, we see the smile, right? On the face of Gaur Nitai, right? The reciprocation from the deities. So, We don't understand. These are devotees, all right? So, here provide, read this again. By executing, meaning that in the beginning you don't feel like doing it, but Guru said do, therefore you do. By executing devotional service in that way, oh my God, it's too cold now. He gradually becomes attached to Krishna, and when his original dormant love for the Lord becomes manifest, he spontaneously serves the Lord without any motive. This condition is the perfect stage of one's relationship with the Lord. The Lord then looks after the comfort and security of his devotee without being asked. All right? Like a parent takes care of the children, makes sure that the child has everything, right? I mean, all of you parents, why you're working so hard, right? For the child, right? Ananyaschintayanto mam ye jana parupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogashemam vahamyaham. The Supreme Lord personally takes care of anyone who is completely engaged in his devotional service. Whatever he has, the Lord protects, and whatever he needs, the Lord supplies. Therefore, why should one bother the Lord for something material? Such prayers are unnecessary. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that even if a devotee wishes the Lord to fulfill a particular desire, the devotee should not be considered a Sakam Bhakta or a devotee with some motive. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.16, Lord Krishna says, Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritinor Arto jigyasur artharti gyani cha bharatarashabha. O best among the Bharatas, Arjun. 4 kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. The Artha and the Artharti, who approach the Supreme Person Godhead for relief from misery, or for some money, are not Sakam Bhaktas, although they appear to be. Being neophyte devotees, they are simply ignorant. All right? Later in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Udara Sarva. I'm not able to read. They are all magnanimous, Udaraha. Although in the beginning a devotee may harbor material desires, in due course of time it will vanish. You forgot that you came to ask this, right? Like Dhruv Maharaj, yes, and like so many of us. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam enjoins, Akama sarva kamuva moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he is full of material desire, is free from material desire, or has a desire for liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Hall, the Personality of Godhead. Bhagavatam 2.3.10. Even if one wants something material, he should pray to no one but the Lord to fulfill his desire. If one approaches a demigod for the fulfillment of his desire, he is considered to be Nashta Buddhi, bereft of all good sense. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.20, Kamasteste ritaya jnana pratpadyante nyadevataha tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyataha swaya. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Lakshmi Devi advises all devotees who approach the Lord with material desire that according to her practical experience, the Lord is Kamadev, and thus there is no need to ask him for anything material. She said that everyone should simply serve the Lord without any motive. Since the Supreme Personality of God is sitting in everyone's heart, He knows everyone's thought, and in due course of time, He will fulfill all desires. Therefore, let us completely depend on the service of the Lord without bothering Him with our material requests. All right. Hare Krishna. Oh my God, what happened here? Okay. So that was little intense, no? Hare Krishna. Thank you. It didn't get recorded here. Hare Krishna.